Before history is written, it's played. Before it's frozen in time, it's fought one shift at a time. Before it's etched in silver, it's carved in ice. What happens next will last forever. The Stanley Cup Final on ABC and ESPN Plus begins Saturday.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Kroger worth it every time. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
I am Madison Timmons.
I'm Chris Soucy.
And we're paranormal specialists who live in the most haunted city on earth, Savannah, Georgia. Every day is Halloween in our line of work, so join us as we spin true tales of haunts, murders, and disturbing Savannah history. I'm Madison.
I'm Chris.
And welcome to the most haunted city on earth.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of The Most Haunted City on Earth. My name is Madison Timmons.
I'm Chris Soucy.
And we are here at the Micaville Outpost. Well, I'm here, and Chris is still in Savannah, so you'll see him virtually. But we are here at the Micaville Outpost in Micaville, North Carolina, and we are joined by Becky and Noah. So hello, y'all.
Hello. Hi.
So before we get into it, I do want to say thank you so much to all the new Parajunkies who have joined us over on Patreon. We definitely appreciate you guys, and I hope you enjoy the newest piece of content that is coming to you. At this point, when you're hearing this, the Waverly Hills documentary of our investigation that we did will be live on Patreon, ad-free as always, and it is super creepy, super scary. Debria put her foot in it, so, sorry if y'all don't know what that means. It's putting your foot in it is a good term. Okay. I learned this in New Orleans from a man who was giving a tour, and when we first met him, he was like, "Where are you from?" And we're like, "Savannah, Georgia." And he's like, "Oh, y'all have great fried chicken. Y'all really put your foot in that." And every time something was good, he referred to it as putting your foot in it.
Gotcha.
So Debria put her foot in it. But so definitely go check that out. But if you're not a patron, then you will be getting it live to the public on May 24th. And that will not be ad-free. So if you want it without ads, you know where to find us. But let's get into the heart of it. So Becky and Noah, do you kind of want to introduce yourself first?
I am Noah Stiles. I'm one of the owners here, Micaville Outpost. We just opened December 2nd, so we're relatively new. I was born and raised up here, and we forgive Becky, but she's actually from New Jersey, so the accents are going to be a little different, right?
Only the strong survive. It's true. Yeah, I've lived here in Western North Carolina since 86-ish. It's as soon as I got here, it was home. I grew up with the Jersey Devil and various paranormal type things going on around there. So moving into this seemed like the right thing. I'm also the art kuba for the store. I bring in the different artworks and the different artists, and I grew up as an artist and in a pottery studio. So that's what I've been doing all my life. This is culmination, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Super cool.
This is my first podcast. I don't know about you.
Same.
Oh, all right. So we'll try not to be too nervous during this.
You're doing great. You're doing great. Now, first off, I do want to ask, who is Minnie? Because I saw Minnie over on the little sign, and I am very curious to hear a little bit more about that.
Well, all right. So Minnie was born in Mount Holly, down in the Piedmont, and we're, of course, in the heart of ancient Appalachia right now. back in her day, you could either be a nurse or a teacher or a stay-at-home mom or a missionary. And she wanted to travel, so right out of school, she started doing mission work in Africa and then later South America. And she's an interesting character. She's 87 now, basically a hermit living locally. And during her research and her mission work, she collected stories and artifacts and objects, oddities, from all over the world. And she was very interested in various kinds of rituals, superstitions, folklore, and then people just started giving her weird stuff. So she's sort of known in certain circles as the Protestant exorcist.
That's a name.
That's a name, yeah. Pretty interesting. And we've heard there was only one president in U.S. history that met with the Pope without any sort of script, and it wasn't recorded, and it was when Reagan did that. And it was right after a conversation that he had had with Minnie. Nobody knows what they talked about, but we find her very fascinating. And she will not let us reveal her last name.
I've never even met her. She deals with Noah.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah, very secretive.
Wow.
And, old, so she gets to do what she wants now.
Sure, totally.
It's the best part of getting old.
You get to
You
make
just
your-
run out of to give.
Exactly.
So are all of the haunted objects in the shop from Minnie, or have you been donated?
Most of them are. When people discovered we were opening up, they started bringing us some stuff. We have a little teeny tiny Virgin Mary that's made out of popsicle sticks and pencil shavings from a prisoner. The woman who ended up with it had volunteered at the prison, and I don't know how he died. I don't know the circumstances, but she got the little Virgin Mary. He kept it in his pocket. It's very worn and soft, and weird stuff started happening at her house. She felt a male presence around the female Virgin Mary, and she was like, I need this out of my home. And we said, all right, we'll take it. But we get Minnie to bless everything, and we'll probably due for another blessing soon.
Yeah.
We've had some activity lately.
Oh, good.
Yeah, some interesting things going on around the store.
Ooh.
You never know when you open the doors in the morning. It's like, oh, look, the doll's got her locked door open again. At least she's still in the box.
That's right. If she stays in the box, everything's fine.
That's
Yeah,
a win.
It's a good day when the doll's in the box, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all know how I feel about haunted dolls, so
I'm getting there.
yeah, I understand.
Love you, honey.
Becky has a degree in biology, so she's more or less started out as our skeptic.
Yeah, I'm the resident skeptic, although I did grow up in a haunted house in New Jersey. See, ghosts there too. I watched my brothers have things thrown at them by the old man who had lived in the house. That was fun. They kind of deserved it. I got blamed for Mom's lipstick and all her makeup ended up in the toilet. Same guy. Wasn't me. Yeah, we had ghost hunters come through the house this is back in the 70s.
Wow.
And
You're that old.
shut up.
I'll be
Much
good.
older than you. So yeah, it's I have to believe in ghosts, but I'm also a scientist, so give me some actual evidence.
Fair enough. Very fair. Now, since we are in Appalachia, we did want to ask y'all everybody's burning questions about the rules of the area.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you moved here, since you're not born and raised here, was it jarring to hear there are so many rules?
Yes. There was definitely a culture shock. I was 18. I'd been raised in a matriarchy. I mean, Dad was there, but Mom was the boss. And if a car needed working on, didn't matter if you were a girl, you learned how to do it. You had to work with the animals, boy or girl, actually mostly girl. I got to do all that. So I was raised, if something needed to be done, just do it. You can do it. So the first time I went into a car parts store, said I needed a distributor cap for a 72 Subaru wagon. I got, honey, did your husband tell you that?
That's an entirely different podcast.
Yeah. So, bit of a culture shock. I had to learn, if I need stuff like that, get a guy to go with me, and he had to buy it all. Went very against the grain, but he'll learn. But yeah, things like whistling in the dark, whistling at night. Although, even up there, you don't whistle in the house, according to friends' families. There were
That's pretty common.
rules there.
It's a superstition that's sort of universal. Yeah.
And plus, anything went. I was the fifth kid. Mom had given up by the time she got to me. She's like, whatever, just don't burn the house down.
You spent so much time in the woods, though. Did you ever hear like the you don't look up in the trees? Oh. So you could have just been eaten by a diabolical entity, and yeah.
I may have been. I don't know.
This could be her.
Noticed.
This could be her doppelganger. Keyword: doppelganger.
Wait, do you say it with the umlauts?
Yes.
Doppelganger.
Oh, there you go.
Ooh, fancy.
Oh yeah.
That's it for my German.
Let me just stop you all right there. I'm getting some of the Parajunkies. We're asking y'all to just raise your voice just a little bit.
Sorry.
Just 'cause, no, it's okay. It's the traffic now.
Gotcha.
It's taking over for them, not the camera though.
Okay.
So yeah, but y'all continue. I don't mean to interrupt.
All right. So we were trying to think earlier today of the different Appalachian superstitions that you're supposed to be taught if you're living up here.
Supposed to be.
Supposed to be. And these are things that I heard from my grandparents and even my mom, and some of these I think will be familiar, but if you pass a cemetery, hold your breath so you don't inhale the spirit of a person who has recently died. You ever heard that? Gather acorns. Have you heard this one? I didn't know if this was just a mountain thing or southern.
Hold for new
let's
dying.
pause.
There we go. All right. So if you gather acorns during a thunderstorm and you line them up on the windowsill, it'll protect your home from lightning strikes. Have you heard
Never
that?
heard that. That's,
That's from Grandma.
I like that.
Yeah. And this one, my papa, we had pear trees and apple trees. And so he always said, if there are apple trees on your property, after the harvest, you better leave one hanging. And if you don't, you risk attracting the devil. So many of these, are just warnings. And then you have to wonder what happened in ancient Appalachia, what happened when the settlers came over to create all of these superstitions. Okay, you've probably heard if you see an owl during the day, it's an omen of death.
Yep.
Yeah. What about sweep a broom under someone's feet and they'll never marry?
Oh, yeah.
You've heard that one?
That's
All right.
been a long
Okay.
time since I've heard that one, but yes.
Wow. Something's happened.
New ghosts.
New ghosts.
We are very, very close to the Blue Ridge Parkway, and we're right under Mount Mitchell, which is the highest peak east of the Rockies. So we're pretty rural out here in Micaville.
Yeah, we are the sticks.
You are the stick.
We are the sticks, that's right. But I think the biggest one, and I remember this from any old person I have ever met, the whistling in the woods or the whistling after dark. That was the biggest no-no. And apparently you could summon entities, skinwalkers, monsters. That's the biggest one. And after researching too, we found out that almost every culture has a whistling superstition, not just here in Appalachia.
The whistling thing always freaked me out a little bit. Because, well, the way I always was taught it, because my family's from North Carolina, so I got a little bit of the taste of it, even though I didn't live in North Carolina very much. It was always that the whistling gives your pinpoint of where you are. And so I was like, that's horrifying. Like, it's like sonar. Like, there they are.
Drop the pig.
Yeah.
Right.
They're right here.
It's like, it makes you wonder what was happening in ancient Appalachia? What were they seeing, that was making them realize why you would be afraid of it?
Who whistled and what happened?
Right.
Yes.
And there's so many ancient cultures here, like the Cherokee and the Choctaw, they were mining. We're in Micaville, and so mica comes from here. So if you have a camera, a cell phone, an iPad, anything that has any sort of computer chip in it, you have a part of Yancey or Mitchell County. We have the highest quality quartz crystals in the world. So this building, this was the original mica mining company store. But 2,000 years before that, Cherokee and Choctaw were pulling out sheets of mica, feldspar, quartz. They would load up ox carts and carry it down to the coast to sell to the English. So then once, of course, settlers came in, they pushed out all of the Native Americans, indigenous people who were here. And so we have a mix of not only the indigenous cultures, we also have the Gullah, and then the Scots-Irish settlers, German settlers. So the Appalachians, people want to think that of the white man kind of doing it on his own, and that's so far from the truth. This was truly a melting pot for all these superstitions, a place where it would come together. And so we have a very interesting, eclectic mix of folklore around here.
Super interesting, because I knew that the Gullah people extended up into usually the lower portion of North Carolina. I didn't realize they extended all the way out here to western North Carolina as well. So have y'all heard a lot about hag lore and all of those fun things?
Yeah, it's so interesting because culturally people were free to talk about this stuff. And then I think as people have become more conservative in some ways, it all becomes witchcraft or dark or evil. And it's not. Like pretty much all of us, our grannies were like kitchen witches or granny witches. They used herbs to heal. And my mom has a story of when she was really little, she had a wart on her hand. And so my grandma, they knew this Cherokee man, and he touched her, said a particular verse out of the Bible, and she said the next morning it was gone. So, all that folk healing it's now just viewed as witchcraft, unfortunately. So we're trying to revive and let people know this isn't witchcraft. This is history. This is how people survived up here.
Right, exactly. Hello.
Screw just fell out of the camera?
No, I have a tripod. That was super strange.
All right.
I've never seen that happen. But that's okay. I'll fix it when we
Put it in my
Right?
lap.
We're also...
Does Chris have anything to say? I don't know if he's got a delay or not.
He's taking it
No,
out.
I'm here.
Oh, yeah.
Listening into it. We definitely talked about the whistling before on our podcast, and one of the interesting things was I had heard that whistling is the language of the hide behind the whistling of these creatures. When they speak to each other, they speak in whistles. And so when you whistle, they think you're one of them, and they come for you, and they'll attach to you, and they'll follow you, because they identify with the whistle. And it's oftentimes a non-melodic, like two-tone whistle that isn't like, you're not hearing a song. It's almost, this eerie two tones that kind of come and go. And when you hear it, because it's even on top of don't whistle, it's when you hear it, it's coming, and you can't react to it. If you react to it, again, it thinks that it's engaging with you. So if you react to it, it's more likely to attach to you, to follow you, so I hear all these great stories about whistling, but every culture on the face of the earth does have this: don't whistle in a graveyard, don't whistle in a theater, don't whistle, and a lot of that was because they thought whistling was kind of like an idle thing that is kind of rude to do, because it's suggesting that you could care less about what's around you, so you're whistling, you're being idle. And of course, idle hands are the devil's playground. But yeah, I find it ultimately fascinating, especially when you start getting into these rural, isolated areas, how a lot of these stories kind of congealed into a very solid folklore that people just accept. They're like, hey, yeah, that's just it. That's the way it is. We're going along with it because too many people have agreed that these are the rules. If you think you heard it, no, you didn't. If you thought you saw it, no, you didn't.
My question for y'all is, have you heard anything about spirits that whistle at you?
There are so many different versions and stories up here. All right, so yes. Did you guys, you were talking about earlier, one of you had read the post that we did on whistling? Okay, so there's so many versions. I think the most common up here is not doing the whistling yourself. But there's so many stories of people hearing whistling and then going to look to see if they could figure out what it is and then not coming back. Do you know of anything specifically?
Honestly, no. I don't know any lure attached to whistling.
Okay.
Well, that's okay. We'll give you a pass because you're a Yankee, but it's
And I come from pragmatists who don't have a bunch of lore or superstition or anything like that in our family history.
That's very fair. The reason why I ask is because what was that, a year ago when we did Helen's Bridge? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so
like a year and a half ago.
Yeah. We went to Helen's Bridge to do an SC's method for the Parajunkies, and I was getting through the spirit box very aggressive things, like saying you should jump, you should do this, blah, 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 blah. But I kept hearing this, like Chris said, a two-tone whistle coming through the spirit box. And ever since we did that investigation, almost every single SC's method we do, I hear that two-tone whistle.
Wow.
Which is horrifying. It was so creepy. My dad, who you saw in the shop earlier, he accepts ghosts, but he doesn't like when they're aggressive, and so the Parajunkies call him the Begone Man because he was like, "Begone, spirit."
That's wonderful. My mom says skedaddle.
That's what we're gonna say from now on when the ghosts annoy us in the theater. Skedaddle,
Skedaddle.
But I'm like, how weird, because I'd never heard of a spirit whistling at you, and so clearly it's taken a liking to us, but
Following you around.
Yeah.
Oh, well, up here the rules were simple. If something calls your name or whistles at you in the woods, or if you hear it singing, you absolutely ignore it every time.
Yep.
Period.
You told me.
Yeah, if you hear that, no, you don't.
That's right.
And that is the rule to live by. If you heard something creepy, no, you didn't.
And we have, the way the mountains are arranged here, we have this weird phenomena, and it actually caused some trouble during the Civil War, where something can be very close by, and it sounds like it's far away, or reverse, something can be right behind you, and it's really strange. So apparently there were battles where the soldiers would be hearing explosions and fighting, but it would sound like it was way far off, and it would be right over the mountain from them, and so there would be that element of surprise. So the Appalachians are just ancient and weird and scary.
Mm-hmm. That's what we love about it. We love how scary it is. But all right, y'all, we're gonna switch over to episode 2 now. Are we gonna take a cut, Jay, real quick?
Yeah, you can just end that
Okay.
like you normally end it.
Sounds good. All right, so in the next part, we're going to talk about all of the Appalachian cryptids, which I know y'all love, and I know y'all love it because we see all the different cryptids surrounding us in the shop. But thank y'all so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
And we will see y'all in part 2. So my name is Madison Timmons. And that's Chris Susi.
I'm Chris Susi. I'm over here. Another state entirely.
Stay spooky, y'all.
All right, excellent.